is Talking to My Thoughts.
Funny enough, my tie with money, like I was a massive saver when I was younger. So my thing was work hard now, live life later. But then I kind of extended it where it was work hard now, live life later. But remember that time is not promised, so tomorrow could be your last day. So I kind of started to realize maybe I shouldn't really be so tight with money, because there was cases where I was in a relationship where I wouldn't go on holiday. I would literally just be like working over a crazy amount of work. And then I didn't get to enjoy as many holidays as I could have. And you know, life is not promised. We keep thinking that we have until 70. Obviously, you shouldn't live like you don't, but you should live like it's going to be your last day. So I started to kind of release my tie on money too dramatically. To answer your question, in a sense of if I get in a relationship, I would assume that would mean you're kind of suggesting if we were in a relationship together and the person is not paying, like let's say we said well half the bills, and then they suddenly had months when they're not paying the bills, like they're not paying their half. Is that what you mean? Like they're losing their responsibility?
Not even like, no, it's not even a case of it gets to a place where they go through hardship and they can't do it. It's just in terms of how they know to manage their finances, they can never fully contribute financially. How would you kind of balance that out? Because you've obviously, I guess, just for example, I'm just not putting words in your mouth, but say for example, you decide to buy a home and you both agreed to, I don't know, go half on the mortgage, and they can never uphold it. Like, and it's because they're always spending on like designer brands and they always want to go out with their girls or whatever. It's going to be a strain on your relationship. How would you kind of handle that?
That's pretty interesting. So there's two sides to that. So the first side is if they are able to uphold the bills, for example, like they said they're going to go half on the bills and they've upholded that, but they spend the rest of it, then that would mean that they put a high importance on the bills that are currently here. So they know that it's very, very important. So I would try to communicate very hard as to make them have the same importance as to what's coming next as well. So like be ready for the bills that are already happening, but also, by the way, extra 100 can go a long way for us to get our house together, for example. So I guess try to help them with to understand the importance, because I find this really, really important. Maybe you don't. Then the second side of how I would go about it is kind of really understand where are they at with wanting to go out, and what is it that they want to do. I find a lot of people go out regularly, like not just here and there, like a ritual, but regularly because of escapism, because they're unhappy, because they just don't like where they are in their life right now. Needed to be drinking a lot, needed to be going out with their girls like all the like excessively, or not doing things that are cheaper in a sense. Why would you, if you know that you have a goal with your partner, why would you feel that you are going to go overboard to kind of match the level of your girls? Are they actually your girls? What's their ambitions in a sense? Who you surrounded yourself? So I try to understand their situation. And then the third route that I would probably take is to say, if I believe that what they are doing is not excessive, and this is something that it keeps them up, because people need some kind of escape, keeps them up, then I will say, what can I do to change our financial situation? What can I wouldn't say, I try to not to do work harder, because that means you're just taking more away from your life, but work smarter. Do I change the way I put my better salary? Do I maybe even help them get promoted as well, if that's the case? Or do I maybe say, okay, the money that we do save, how can it be multiplied in a different way? When can it go for high interest or be invested in a certain way? That's my outlook of how I would go about it. Try to assess where they are, see where they're at. Can I help them with that? Is there a problem there, or is it something that this is reasonable? If it's reasonable and it's what keeps them up, because everyone needs an escape, then that's fine. How can we change it round to make the most of what we already have, in a sense? And then, but let's take the devil advocate. Things just don't go well. They say this is not an escape. I say it is an escape. Then you know what? Maybe I have to employ Emmanuel. You know, like honestly, like I realized one of the things I wanted to do when I was younger was become a marriage psychologist, like a marriage counselor, because I said, you know what? If I was to become a marriage counselor, you would realize so many things that have marriage problems are nothing to do with the marriage, and everything to do with the external factors. Not to do with the love and how much they care for each other, but because of family, friends, outside forces, work, money, especially money. That would be the cause. So with me, I would think, you know what, if I really can't hack this, and especially I'm a logical thinker as well, and usually the partner I attract is usually emotional thinker, I'm gonna need a third person. I'm gonna need to tag somebody in. You know? So that's how I see it in my head, because I really do believe in third parties because it removes my ego out of it, and then Emmanuel can tell me, my boy, you're doing it wrong. And then, my girl, you're also doing it wrong. And we don't have to feel like we said it to each other and feel like it's an attack. So, yeah, that's how I would do. That's my stages.
Yo, that's deep.
Emmanuel, what's your thoughts?
No, I think that whole emotional, logical, it works in different places, and I feel sometimes you don't take credit for it. So, for example, like you said, the person that's got logic and the person that's got emotion, when it comes to money, the person that's logical will probably use it better in that scenario. But then the person that's got the more emotion might be better when it comes to spontaneity, when it comes to excitement. And I think sometimes what we do is we look at parts of the relationship and we just say, this is more important than that. And so we don't give it the same value. And so we say, oh, you're not good with money, so you're not good at all. But we forget that, actually we could find someone that's really good at money, but we're going to have a dead relationship because we're both just going to be here being tight together. Do you know what I mean? and so sometimes there has to be a balance in regards to, okay, like where do I bring in and what do you bring in? It's a balance. It's about looking at, okay, but actually I'm weaker here and you help me there. So for example, like even like me now, I'm not in the house. I'm not great at things in the house. Like I'm just not. I got 2 sisters and a mum. Like I didn't have to do much. I had to do for a little bit while they were younger, but once my sisters could cook and clean, I ain't seen the kitchen since. Do you know what I mean? Like that's just culture. Do you know what I mean? Like so, my wife, like me saying, "Oh, I pay the most of the bills. I'm walking around." Okay, cool. Go feed yourself, big man. Do you know what I mean? You're going to struggle now. Even if I can cook, even if man boils a rice, it's not going to taste as good. Even if I make a chicken, it's not going to taste as good as what she can do. So man has to understand that within a relationship, there's always balance. Do you know what I mean? And how do you balance each other out? The problem is that when you're both good with money, then when you're good and then you're bad in other, then all of a sudden it highlights and points out. And so like what we're saying is about understanding what Craig was saying was that, trying to get external help and so forth. But sometimes you just have to let someone go. You know what I mean? Yeah. If I met someone here and financially she's on a magnet, it can't be around me. Like it's so unattractive. Like it's not attractive, and I have to know that if you're putting out these things that are unattractive to me, I'm gonna go and cheat. I'm human. Please, all of this, we go to church and we pray. It's calm, but if I'm not attracted to you because of the traits that you're showing me, it's not going to last 20, 30, 40 years, is it? Right. So what am I here doing? Why am I here? Like, God, let her find someone that matches where she's at. That's just not going to work for me. Sometimes I feel like we think, oh, you know what, but she's amazing. Yeah, she is amazing, but just not for you. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? And actually, you can find those qualities. I always talk about it's more important about the bad things about a person than the good things. Because everybody has a good side. Mm-hmm. Everybody has things that they do well and things that are good, but can you handle their bad?
I think the thing with me, let's kind of circle back for a second as well. I think the thing with me is that when it comes to building a relationship with someone where you find, okay, for me, it's a level of fear in it. It's a level of fear to be like, can I really be with someone that isn't on the same wavelength of me like that, especially when it comes to finances, because when you're in I can only speak for myself. When I get into a relationship with someone, it's not just a flippant thing where I'm just like, I'm in a relationship with you for the sake of it. There's a purpose behind it. And obviously there's goals behind that, where you're either going to build a family, you're going to have a home, you're going to do these things. You need to have a financial goal or like something in place in order for you to get there. There's no point in just being like, we'll just see what happens. It's like, well, what are you doing to build a future for us? Like, I'm doing what I need to build a future for us, but I would expect you to have some kind of contribution to that. It's not me saving up all the money to buy us a house. I would like you to contribute to that too. As you said at the beginning, like, mortgages are money, bro. Kids are money, bro. Like, you can't just have one person paying for all of that. So I think for me, it's a level of fear when you get with someone that isn't clued up about finances. And I guess it does come down to, as I said, a level of understanding and education. But if they can't get with that program, it's like, listen, I don't know how this is going to work, if I'm completely honest with you. I like you, you like me, but if we're trying to build to something and you're not even willing to contribute to that, you just want to do what you want to do, how's this going to work? It ain't.
Yeah.
It is what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true.
Facts.
Emmanuel, a good question for you. What would, especially the kind of position that you're in, being a financial expert yourself, what has been the biggest challenge for you in your relationship with money, relation to money?
The biggest challenge for me as a person has been getting over my poverty scars. So when I was at school, there was bare things that I missed out on. Like, man never had, air bubble training. When you had the bubble, you pressed it. Like, I didn't have it. Man didn't have it. Like, man was going Lidl's before Lidl's was cool. Like, man was going Lidl's like way back. You know what I mean? And you didn't want to walk with a bag, so you just be carrying bare shopping in your hands up the street, walking to your house because you didn't want no one to see that you had little bags. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, man's been going, like, when they used to go school trips, I didn't even give my mum the letter. There's no point. Do you know what I mean? And so all of a sudden now, like, when you now start making money, you're now living your childhood in your teens or in your 20s. You're buying things for yourself that you couldn't buy for yourself when you were younger. And it was that whole missing out thing where I didn't want to miss out. And so I kind of made a lot of money, but I spent a lot of money because I couldn't get over the scars of what I was going through. And actually what I really needed to do was really get some more self-worth, understand that those things didn't make me. But because you're going into a playground, especially in secondary school, and man are just at you from your neck, from you walk in, like, they're at you, your jacket, your bag, your shoes. Do you know what I mean?
Boys' school. So
boys' school. Come on, boys' school is a lot. Like, boys' school is a lot. So from you in I went boys' school as well. So from you in a boys' school, like, these men are wearing kickers. I'm wearing US brass. Like, from a distance, it's looking like kickers. But when you've come close, they've licked you off.
Hey,
you're
I know there was.
you're getting murdered by man that can't talk. Like, man that are getting murdered are now switching it on you when it's there. They're getting in. I know you're not laughing, big man. Like, do you understand? Like, you're that guy. You're the escape for the guy that normally gets cussed. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, man can't even rob you for 20p. You got no dough. You know the bully used to take your money. You never just walk past you. Never even bother. No, you ain't got no money. Like, it's hard. It was hard. So when I started to make money, I'm buying basketball trainers. I don't even play basketball no more. Because when I was playing basketball, do you understand? When I was playing basketball, I didn't have the proper basketball trainers. I just had trainers. Do you know what I mean? The same trainers I played for the gym was the same basketball, the same I played football. There was just one trainer. That was it. Do you know what I mean?
The multi-purpose crap.
No, multi-purpose, all orange on the bottom. Why are they so orange? Like, it's just for all situations. But it was hard. So I think that was the biggest thing for me, is to understand worth. And that's what I try and teach now, is that actually, you have to love yourself and know that you are already valuable, and that anything that you own or buy only adds more value to yourself. You're already valuable. So you wearing a Gucci belt doesn't make you more valuable. You add value to the Gucci belt. Do you understand? And so then you ask yourself, well, if I add value to it, why can't it just be a normal belt? Yeah. Like, I see man buy belts and then they tuck it in the front just so we can see. Like, hello? At your big age, you're tucking in the front and leaving the back out just so we can see your belt. What's going on? Like, man doesn't even want to be looking in them nether regions anyway. So, what's going on here, big man? Like,
it's a lot.
Relax. Like, take it. It's a lot what men are doing. Men are doing a lot. Yeah. Whole blazer, no shirt underneath. Like, relax. Now you got oil stains on the front. From you cream yourself, it's all soaked through the. Like, it doesn't even make sense. Like, we got to start making sense of these things. But we're doing stuff we are stunting on ourselves while rich people are just chilling. They're working together and making more money. Yeah. Man, I say, right, you got a business idea? Oh, I need some investment. Man at competition and they're still investing together. Yeah. That's what man with money are doing. And we've got nothing and we're stunting on each other with the nothing that we got.
Yeah, that's literally where we're at. That's really interesting. I think Will Smith talked about that before as well, where he said that he watches his kids and he's trying to get over his own poverty. Like, he's making a lot of money and he's trying to figure out Like, how do I just live? He doesn't get how to just live anymore because he's just too busy remembering what he was like when he was broke. And he lived that life for ages. But he just now watches his kids, they're just free. And he loves it. But it took him ages to get over that.
When is the right time to talk about money in a relationship?
I know you answer that one, Manuel.
From you said hello, how are you? Let's go. Let's talk. We need to talk. Like from we need to. Money is a conversation, even where we're meeting. Do you know what I mean? Because remember, a lot of the time we're living expectation.
Yeah.
You know your pocket. You're on 22K. Why are you doing your first date at the Shard? Are you mad? What are you doing? Just to impress girl. And the maddest, you know, like I want to get the maddest is you do all this to impress girl. From you've took her home, you've got a different woman in the yard. You've let Instagram gas you. From the wig come off, the makeup come off, the eyelash. It's a different. Even the trousers, don't know if it's bum pads in the. Bruv, chill out, bro. Go somewhere reasonable. And if she's like. If you know that you're paying and you know that, listen, what's your budget? What can you afford? Okay, I've got £40. Then go online, find a voucher for something. Go make it stretch. Like, come on, go on Groupon or Top Table, whatever it is. Like, go get a voucher if you want to go somewhere. Make sure it's affordable. From that first impression, man are borrowing their brethren's suits, bro. One day what's going on here?
That's mad.
So you say when it's time to talk about money, but from the day. You've already created an impression that wasn't you.
That's kind of crazy. I think for me to answer that, one of my first questions I used to ask people was, how are you doing? Like, what's your name, etc. And weird enough, I was the kind of guy that would ask, like, even if it was in a club or whatever, what do you do for a living? And it wasn't because I was gauging their money, but I kind of wanted to gauge their ambition, like who were they about? Yeah. And then I asked them the second, this threw everybody off. Do you enjoy what you do for a living? And that was the thing that how they answered is what shifted everything for me, in a sense. Like, are they going towards, do they have an ambition for something? Do they actually like where they are? Some people are like, I just do it for money. Like, it's what it is. I'm like, I hate that term. I hate that terminology. It is what it is when you're talking about your own life. I hate that terminology. So yeah, that's how I kind of gauged what the person was like. And then once but I never went OTT. I haven't even gone to a Shard before. So I've never gone to OTT. The highest paid restaurant I've gone to is Groucho, and usually the bill can be like 140. But that's first I got BV for a while, and that's a special time. That's like my birthday, or that's like an anniversary, which is like a year or 2 years, and that's a one-time thing. And I know it tastes so good, but you ain't going back there. We're not going over and over. You're gonna rinse it out.
Go back next week again.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Cool, man. All right. Next question. Actually, is this a bit of a statement? Okay, so I'm dating someone who has recently admitted that they have a massive debt. Is it wrong that this has turned me off and I don't want to date them anymore?
I don't know. For me personally, I don't feel like you can judge someone off their past mistakes. We're all allowed to make mistakes. Yeah. So, for example, like it's the same way a man might have a criminal record. So if a man has a criminal record, and does that mean that that man is? But like we can all make mistakes in life. So someone might have a debt. It might have been out of love. It might have been in a relationship with someone, took out a loan for them, or did a guarantor for them, and now they got a debt. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. The point is that what are they doing to pay that off? How are they going to pay that? Do they need help? Do they need support? Can you not financially? That man's not paying someone else's debt. That's a nonsense. But can I? Is it something that you need help with? Do you need some explanation? Do you need? How are you finding that? How's that affecting your mental health? How is that? Those are the type of things that I would be saying. I wouldn't say I need to lock you off because you got debt. Like anyone can be in debt at any point in time. Sometimes you might be asked. Look at these millionaires. They've been in debt, borrowing and whatever to invest in their business and so forth. And then when it blows, now they're laughing. Everyone's clapping for them. Like so, it doesn't define someone being in debt. But I can understand if someone is reckless with money and they're in debt, and you say, "Oh, I'm in debt because I took out a loan so I could go to Afro Nation." Yeah, you know what? Check, please. Like I'm out. I'm out.
No,
I can't buy you a drink. I'm
No,
gone.
I agree with what you're saying. Like, and again, it comes back to the thing. Like, if you got to where you are now and you're always in debt and you're still, I mean, you still pay for the clothes, you're still here. I'm like, well, that's not really my like. Once you're handling that, cool. If you're handling it, but yeah, if I listen to it and it's not like you're handling it all, then like, oh yeah, I got debt because I went on a holiday or multiple holidays, or I'm escaping. I'm like, maybe there's some healing that needs to happen before I get in your life. But then so a lot of people have been because of guarantors, previous relationships and stuff. What about you though, Simon?
I think to be just thinking about it, I think the worst thing that can happen is in that situation, the person who's in the debt, because they're now dating you or in a relationship with you, almost expect you to help them fix it.
Oh, that's
It's not to say that they're not like you're not there to support and give them advice, but you just started getting to know them, innit? They got this debt, and then they kind of want you to like, have you got any? I just need a bit of money to help pay this off. It's like, hold on a minute, I just
major red flag.
Like, what going on?
Yeah.
So
Never.
for me, it's I guess, and it comes back to the same thing that we mentioned about standards as well, and an expectation. It's like, well, if I know for a fact that, as Craig said, you're not really there, I'm questioning what you're doing to work on it, and you think the answer to you working on it is me to give you money. No.
I'm working on it right now.
I'm bouncing.
Like, you say I'm not working on it, but I'm being very ambitious. I'm working on it right now. I did all this. You.
Come on.